Another example of what I said was going to happen with the whole vaccination thing and trying to get people to get it. A lot of people thought, and look, maybe later down the road we get to that point. But a lot of people unfortunately assume that it was going to be early on like more of a vaccine mandate. As in like it's illegal to not be vaccinated. Now I told y'all that wasn't really what was going to happen. What they were going to do, because that requires too much conflict. It was more going to be a case of I am going to make it nearly impossible for you to operate in your previous capacity and make your life very inconvenient. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what they did, unfortunately. And you have a lot of, albeit people that are subsidized by the government. It seems a lot of them that are the ones that are doing it. And when I say subsidized, I'm not meaning by direct grants. I'm talking about ways through contract. Like, for example, the subject matter what we're going to talk about right now with the NFL. And the NFL has rules that are kind of surrounding the whole vaccine thing. And they have, I know Cole Beasley we've talked about here, because I always kind of came into conflict with a local Dallas radio host because of that whole deal. And Cole was directly involved in that, and he had chimed in, I chimed in, it wasn't necessarily coming to his defense. It's like I had an issue with the radio guy basically saying, well, you should get it or you're stupid, essentially. The vaccine. God forbid, people that are in the prime of their fucking life, prime physical peak condition of their lives, professional fucking footballers who have all the access to the medicine as well as the training facilities, that in the event that even if they got it and ended up getting sick, which is almost not going to happen ever, they would be the ones most likely to survive it, having not ever needed to even go to the fucking hospital. Yet you have an example like what we have here, where, as Blaze covers it, you have another example of an NFL player that's considering retirement because this stupid vaccine shit. Liberals pounce on the rumors. NFL co-star, where is it at? I don't know where that went. What did I just? Anyway, basically, long story short, the person that is, and I saw this when he tweeted this, or somebody, I can't be on Twitter. Somebody sent me the tweet via email, and I saw his, and DeAndre Hopkins basically said that, I don't really want to, this isn't something that he's going to want to do, and he wants to maybe retire if that's how the rule is going to be. And he said, and I quote in the tweet, "Never thought I would say this, but being in a position to hurt my team because I don't want to partake in the vaccine is making me question my future in the NFL." This goes to Leonard Fournette, also said it, from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Vaccine, he couldn't do it. The NFLPA sucks, he tweeted. Others, like cornerback Jalen Ramsey, which to his credit, I guess he defended the unvaccinated. He said, "I know 2 people right now who got the vaccine but are COVID positive. I'm just saying, I wouldn't look at a teammate as bad if he don't get the vaccine. No pressure from 5." And hey, big shout out to, I know Jalen Ramsey gets a lot of shit because he's like, that motherfucker got a head on his shoulders. He talk a lot of noise. A big shout out to Jalen Ramsey for doing that, because this ain't about fucking whether or not how you feel about individually the vaccine. It's about these individuals, these grown ass men who are in a peak condition. Like whether you got it or not shouldn't even matter to you defending basically their right to do that. Now, I want to also add that, yeah, if the NFL wants to have a dumbass rule that requires them to get it, that's their right to have as well. I might not agree with that, but I'm saying it goes both ways, of course, in that regards. But what happens, unfortunately, is what we've seen where a lot of leftists have jumped on these athletes. Cole Beasley got a lot of shit from not only the, mainstream media, from the sports media standpoint, they're just fucking leftists. Like they all say the same shit. It's a reason why you got guys like Outkick that kind of sprout from that, because they're like the one sports kind of organization, if you will, publication that ain't a bunch of deranged fucking leftists, because they all say the same shit. It's the same mainstream position. He says others like defensive end Jerry Hughes of Buffalo Bills criticize players who refuse to take the vaccine. So top scientists, same thing, and the entire world got together to figure out how to combat COVID-19. And when they came up with a vaccine, you question them. They're trying to save lives, and you have wonderful Mr. Jerry Hughes just to say the same shit, because it just couldn't possibly be a case where someone actually looked at data or anything and just decided to come up to a conclusion that, you know what, I don't know if I want to take an experimental vaccine. And this is what they're going to do. They're going to try to pressure these guys by way of their jobs. And some of you have already felt that, depending on what industry you're in. Now, I would hope that you hold the line, because look, no matter how they try to gaslight you, you need to understand that it does not change the reality of what this virus is. They like to think that they're the ones taking that into consideration, but they're not. For the demographic of players that are in the NFL, it's almost a 0%. Like, we're talking, it's closer to zero than anything in terms of their IFR. The infected fatality rate of people that are in that health and age demographic. Now, of course, they don't have these positions for other, vaccines and stuff like that. Not like it, probably like the flu and stuff. But this is what happens when you have, like, unfortunately, this sort of world overemphasis and focus, unlike we've ever seen in any day and age, definitely in modern history. We didn't do this with SARS, H1, N1, none of that, Ebola. But for whatever reason with COVID, it was like all of that went out the window. Our approach to this irrational sort of approach to the virus has a lot of people that even I respected just go completely crazy. And it goes to show, if you can just get people that are generally in positions. They talk about, like this guy talking about the top scientists, all he means is that the ones that work for the fucking government. They come up with something, and then we're just supposed to fall over our neighbor to just take it, because God forbid that we want to assume the risk. It's a fucking virus with a 99% survival rate, 99.x survival rate, depending on what health demographic, but just on average, regardless, you're talking about IFRs and the .0s. And these guys act like it's just so obnoxious, so crazy. You're being selfish, even though you decide, definitely when you're in that fucking health age and age demographic, it doesn't matter what demographic that you're in, but if you're in that health age demographic, especially, and you just decide, look, that's not something that I want to do. And they act like you're being, this is what gets me about these fucking guys, and why I won't hesitate to call you a fucking asshole if you're that guy. When you act like something that just fucking came out, it's just so irrational for someone to want to say, I'm not comfortable with taking that, man. I'm just not comfortable. Like, they act like that, and it'd be the same people that say my body, my choice. They act like it's such an irrational decision for someone to do that. And if the vaccine works in the capacity that they've claimed that it works, we shouldn't even be having this conversation, because you're not assuming any risk. At minimum, it's a minimal risk because you're vaccinated, dude. The only people that will be assuming a risk are the people that have already made it abundantly clear that they're fine with doing it. They're okay with that, man. They've weighed, it's not because they're ignorant, it's not because they're stupid, it's just because they've weighed the cost and the benefit analysis, and they've said, look, I don't want to do it. I don't have to do it. It's not that deadly for my health and age demographic. And if, God forbid, knock on wood, something happens to me, that was a risk that I was willing to assume. The only other people that will be assuming it, if the vaccine works like y'all say it would, will be us. We know, trust me, definitely if you live in those leftist areas, they calling your phone and shit. You know that it's available to you. And by now, if you haven't taken it, you've probably made the decision that you simply don't want to. Now, let them call you crazy. Let them call you irrational. That doesn't mean a goddamn thing. If the vaccine works like they said it works, the people that are mainly assuming the risk are the people that have made it clear that they will assume the risk, and they don't care about that. That's what life is. And the reality is, no matter how much you gaslight, no matter how much you try to put out the experts, it will not change the fact that for definitely that age and demographic, they're more likely to fucking die driving their ass to the stadium than they are to die from fucking COVID. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Cannon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcannonsake.com.